Welcome. Thank you for tuning NeptuneKnives. I wanted to post this video because I do need to correct one of the things I feel perhaps misrepresented the Sebenza in terms of maintenance. And that was brought to my attention by Victorinox fan and Franz NC. So I thank you. I appreciate it very much. I like to use my knives, but since I'm not too fond of the Sebenza, I don't really care too much to constantly maintain and stuff. Mel can take it apart quite fast, but even she didn't use this method. That I guess it's something on the forums. It's like a neat little trick that does work, and I wanted to show that in this vid. Now the next thing though, I wanted to address. People have been telling me that there is a Blade forum posting. Just a couple. You go to Blade forums and you type in NeptuneKnives. There's a couple out there, and one of them is, going on about my frame lock design comparison video. In that frame lock design comparison video, I wasn't focusing on Sebenza, but Sebenza fans really made it about themselves. They were, mad at me and everything, and just kind of to me. Wasn't the point of that video. And then that forum, that little post on the forum, what ends up happening was a lot of Sebenza fans started criticizing me personally as an individual. If you don't like the review, then you talk about the review. I've never had the urge to watch someone's review who posted something negative about a knife and then attack them. My review is just my opinion, and I'm entitled to that opinion, and I feel that seeing review after review of positive feedback on the Sebenza doesn't really help an individual who might want to know some of the negative aspects about the knife. Having a review out there that might, criticize it more than praise it would help someone be able to look at both sides of the coin. When I got the Sebenza back from Mr. Reeves, it was sticking and it was locking up differently. And you can see, if you look on that forum, there is another post that talks about this one individual who got a new Sebenza that had a later lockup. And this individual was concerned. He was like, hey, what's going on? Why is it locking up 75 to 8%? Just like this one. I mean, this one is really almost hitting the other side. I mean, you just give it a little bit of push inward, and you basically are. The detent ball is the only thing keeping it off the thing. Now, Mr. Reeves is famous for knowing how to perhaps make this last, so hopefully no problems. But someone's got a point that even if it did, you can just send it in. Okay, so beyond that, then let's talk about this new lockup. Then, I had done that video on the frame lock designs, and I was looking at the HES 1 folder, looking at how the blade tin was constructed, and I kind of felt, based off of my experience with frame locks, that one would fail and have lock rock. And then I said in my video that the type of frame locks that don't fail are perhaps the ones that have that blade tang with a small contact portion sticking far out. And lo and behold, on the new HES 2, that's what they did. They fixed it that exact way. And this time, this non-expert was right. Now what happened with the Sebenza now is the same thing. If you follow the post, the other one, below the one that just is pointless, there is a post about this guy who I was saying has a new Sebenza that has a late lockup and is curious. And he had contacted Chris Reeves, and the new Sebenzas have a later lockup, and the lockups are different. And so new Sebenzas are going to be like mine. It would be cooler if Mr. Reeves just up front said it, but at the same time, maybe it would have been cooler for me to, like he said, not just go out there and post it first and ask him and tell him the problem. And then if he just doesn't give a crap, then post it. But I mean, I don't know. He can say that, but if I call him and say, hey, Mr. Reeves, I think you got a problem with your lockup, you need to fix it, I don't think he would. But the point is, he did. So I want to explain that it's not that I'm always going to be right. So never take anything I say beyond face value. All I'm saying is my opinion, and it's for your information. You collect all this information and then you come to your own conclusion. But in terms of this, the frame lock of this and the HES 2, and that overall turned out that for those people who were supportive of me, a couple of cool people that did post on the forum in my defense, and also who have been following my channel, I appreciate it, because I mean that you guys either had an open mind, or you're willing to accept my stupidity sometimes, but nevertheless, hey, I lucked out. I mean, I'm posting what I honestly feel and honestly believe at that time, but as anyone, you're gonna get more experience as you go along and learn more things. And at the same time too, I'm just trying to be honest. So whatever in my reviews happens, that is what I experienced. And sometimes, I guess so far, that honesty turns into an actual point that's legitimate. Now, about the Sebenza, that technique they were talking about was this. Now they're saying when you maintenance a Sebenza, now this isn't affected if, for example, if you have to take apart the whole knife, which at that point you're looking at the same thing as in my last video with the Sage 2 comparing to this, that you're going to have a bunch of pieces just falling all over the place. Now this is a technique that was listed on a forum, which is once you've taken this pivot out, you can just slide out the blade, you see, and this is primarily, and so long as you kind of hold it, sometimes this washer can pop out, so you gotta make sure once you've gotten it pulled out, you grab a little bit, okay? So long as the knife is still constructed, you didn't take it apart, and so you're only dealing with maintaining the pivot. There's a very easy trick. Once you've done the pivot and maintenance, what you need maintenance, you see, and then hopefully you'll have some fluorinated grease, which is some very sticky stuff, and you have this back to the way it should be, with the pivot bushing just sticking out ever so slightly on both sides to hold the washers in place. Like this. Okay? You can then slide it back in, and if you can see, because of those machining tolerances, that bushing holds those two washers in place, and that perfect space created in the titanium, between the two titanium, because of these spacers, holds it. And then all you gotta do is just slide it in, get it in place, and then so that definitely is a point for Sebenza. That I like that. That is cool. That does make it much easier. I mean, you don't have to take apart the whole knife. You just have to take apart the pivot's screw and take out the pivot female, and then pull out the pivot, maintenance it, and then put back in. So in terms of pivot maintenance, much easier than a Sage 2, just because you don't have to take apart the whole knife perhaps. In terms of overall maintenance, not as easy as Sage 2, because you have all these spacers, these two spacers plus these two females and males. When it comes to cleaning out the females, Mr. Reeve has his females open, so you can still take something through it and then clean out the inside in case rustlers to form. On the Sage 2, it had two screws on each side, and the spacers and the standoffs were actually what they screwed into, and those of course then were completely open and also easy to clean, if not a little bit easier. But the Sebenza wins on that in terms of easy to maintain the pivot. So that's my little update on this. Appreciate the support, and thank you for watching.